New York State reporting more than 4,700 new coronavirus cases in just the past 24 hours. We have not seen numbers like that since the spring. Tonight, bars, restaurants, and gyms in the state will close at 10 p.m. And New York City now has a rapid testing site at the Staten Island Ferry Terminal. NBC News correspondent Ron Allen is there. Oh, my goodness, Ron, New York looks beautiful behind you. Staten Island it's just a gorgeous evening. Staten Island has the highest positivity rate in all of New York City. What is going on there?
That's a good question, Allison. The numbers have been going up here. It's been declared a yellow zone. The problem is that the spread has been very generalized. It's not tied to one specific industry or factory or nursing home. And that's part of the problem of trying to stop it. Over the months that we've been dealing with all this, there's been some resistance here. This is a fairly conservative area, a Republican area that voted heavily for President Trump. So there's been some resistance. There was a local city councilor who tweeted the other day that he was going to have a big Thanksgiving gathering at his home in defiance of the suggestions, the recommendations from health officials and the governor even to have very small gatherings. So that gives you some sense of the attitude that some people have here. So the city has been surging contact tracers, surging volunteers here, handing out masks and PPE. And they set up these testing centers where people can walk in, essentially get a free test, because that sort of strategy has proved successful in other parts of the city where there has been a big cluster, where there's been an outbreak. And then there are these other measures that are being taken, essentially ending New York nightlife, closing restaurants and bars and gyms down at 10 p.m., and also trying to limit gatherings in private homes to 10 people to try and stop the spread. Allison?
Ron, tell us more about how that new testing site works. You said folks can just walk up. You don't need an appointment. Do you have to have symptoms? What are the rules? It's here at the Staten Island Ferry Terminal where people are coming and going. You take the ferry from here, Staten Island, over to Manhattan and back and forth. So that's why it's here, because there's a flow of people coming and going. And yes, it's free. You can walk up, you're screened for symptoms, you're given some basic information, and then it's a swab. And it's a rapid test, so you can get the results in about an hour or so. And if you test positive, you're asked actually to come back here, and there are contact tracers standing by to start trying to figure out where you've been and who else needs to be contacted to try and contain the spread. And that's what the city has been doing very, very aggressively during the past few months. And that's why they're targeting that particular strategy right here, where there's been a big problem. Ron, it is a very different November in New York. Usually when we have reporters at the Staten Island Ferry, it's to show the thousands and thousands of folks getting on them to go run the New York City Marathon, not lining up to get tested for COVID. It really tells you how different things are, that we had neither the marathon, and that's what's going on here. Let's talk about New York City schools. If New York City's positivity rate hits 3%, the kids will go back home and start remote learning again. Right now, we're at about 2.8%. I know you spoke to Mayor de Blasio. What did he tell you about what's going on with the schools right now?
You know, interesting, yes, the 7-day average is 2.8%, but today's average, we're told, was above 3%. Oh. So there is every expectation that if those numbers continue tomorrow and Sunday, school may not open on Monday. They're watching it literally day by day. And the mayor has said that he's told parents to be prepared for school not to open on Monday. The irony of all this is that there have been very few cases in the city's schools. New York is the largest school system in the country, one of the few that open schools for some form of in-person learning. And there are hundreds of thousands of students who've been going to school during the past couple of weeks or so. But the mayor is concerned about the fact that the spread in the city is fairly generalized. Kids go to schools from all over the place. I asked him about the irony of this, that the numbers in schools are low, but you're still closing them down. Here's what he had to say. Why close the schools? Why not be more surgical and close schools in places where the rates are high? This is going to cause a huge inconvenience for families that desperately need their kids in school.
Yeah, and Ron, I'm the guy who wanted those schools open and fought to get those schools open so long as we could do it safely, and we have. You're right. The testing shows very few people have tested positive in our schools. That's a great blessing. But when you see the rest of the city, unfortunately, experiencing this generalized problem, we've got to act out of an abundance of caution.
And so it is literally a day-by-day thing. And over the weekend, again, we're going to look at the numbers. The number today, positivity testing rate was above 3%, which is the magic number. It's a number that has been negotiated between schools, the school administration, the unions that represent teachers, city government, public health officials. They arrived at that number, and there's some questioning whether they should stick to that now because things are different from when that happened. But the bottom line is there's every indication that these schools are going to close down, and the mayor is saying hopefully it's only for a number of weeks. Put all this together, the shutting down of nightlife with the restaurants and bars closing at 10 p.m., limiting gatherings in private homes to 10 people and to 25 outdoors. And now the schools. New York is at a very critical place. You remember, this was the epicenter many months ago. No one thinks we're going to get back there. Hopefully, hopefully not. But it's a very critical time. And that's why public health officials are insisting, urging people to please do the basics: masking, sanitizing, distancing. And there's a lot of warnings going out today and have been about traveling during the holidays. Because once people start leaving New York City and interacting with family and friends in the surrounding states, or people start coming here from all over the place, that's a big worry. And so the big ask, the almost pleading from state and local officials is, please just stay home. Please limit your gatherings during Thanksgiving and during the holiday season going forward. Because, yes, there's a vaccine coming. We think and hope. It sounds like it's happening, but it's still many, many months away.
Yeah.
And the next few months are really critical to trying to stop this problem.
Yeah, Ron, I've just heard anecdotally from so many parents in New York who say, look, it felt like Halloween was a bit of a trigger. We're concerned about what could happen with Thanksgiving and Christmas, and they are watching and waiting to see if the schools stay open or if the mayor shuts them down. Ron Allen on Staten Island with a beautiful, beautiful New York City skyline behind him. Thank you so much.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here, and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.